Now, during this period, Fernando decides that he is going to go with his brother-in-law, Jose Maria Jesus Carvajal, and they are going to trail horses to New Orleans in order to sell them and buy goods to help with the Texian army. Unhappily, as they are headed back, they are captured by a Mexican naval ship and they are imprisoned at Matamoros. And it is Plácido Benavides who attacks Matamoros, sneaks in, and gets his two brother-in-laws out. So he was able to save his two brother-in-laws. Unhappily, by the time Fernando is back with the supplies for the Texians, General Urrea has taken Victoria, and General Urrea is going to throw Fernando into jail. Now, what Patricia de la Garza did, we don't know. We're not sure. We assume that in my book, when I write about Martín de León, in my book, I suggest that she did come to bring supplies and bring food for her son. We don't know that, but I would suggest that that's what a mother would do. Now, by San Jacinto, the question of loyalty was critical for the Martín de León family. Who are you going to be loyal to? General Rusk is going to arrive in Victoria, and surprisingly enough, instead of freeing Fernando, who has been in jail by General Urrea, General Rusk is going to throw Fernando into jail again. So poor Fernando is once again in jail, and we don't know for certain what it was that happened. General Rusk tried to have all of the Mexican families moved out of the Victoria area because he didn't want them helping the Mexicans should they attack again, should they try to retake Texas. And certainly the Mexican government was trying to retake Texas. But it is at this time that Patricia decides that she is going to move her family to New Orleans with the help of John Lynn, who was later goes on to become a senator, but he was a merchant at this time. And John Lynn actually helps to move Patricia and all of her family to New Orleans. Now, to say that Patricia suffered a great deal while she was in New Orleans and later moved up country to Opelousas, I think is probably true. But to say that she was without funds is also not true, because she was able to use the money that from the sale of her ranch property. And she sold their big ranch, the De Leon Ranch, and sells it to a New Orleans speculator for 10,000 pesos or $10,000. That time the peso and the dollar were the same. So in this case, Patricia then, by 1845, is going to decide to return to Texas. Her children, as you can see from this chart, are going to scatter. Fernando and Luz. Fernando is now going to marry a woman named Luz Escalera, and he is going to remain in Victoria with his mother. Candelaria and Miguel Aldrete. As a matter of fact, there are still families in the Refugio area that are called Alderites, but they're Aldretes. And Felix and Salome, Mission Valley there are still De Leons that own land at Mission Valley. Lupita, Chucha, Francisca, all of them remain in Victoria with their mother. And the grandchildren, Frank, who is the son of Salome, and Matiana, the daughter of the Benavides family, all of them are going to become involved in court battles. And this is something that we find that is perhaps different than some of the other Mexican families. Many of the Mexican families lost land to Anglos who were coming in and squatted on the land. But Patricia de la Garza refused to back down. She said, "We will not give up." And she actually used her land to hire Anglo lawyers and fought for her land. Now, it's true that Fernando lost 50,000 acres of land, but he also kept 50,000 acres of land. And he was able to pass it on to their adopted son, Frank, and to their later grandchildren. So in this case, Patricia de la Garza, because of her willingness to fight court battles, to use the Anglo system in order to regain her land, is able to leave in her last will and testament. And this is a wonderful document that is just tremendous. She leaves land, she leaves cattle, she leaves mortgages to Lupita, Chucha, and Francisca, her last three daughters. And then today, if you go to Victoria, you will actually see where her original home was, because St. Mary's Catholic Church in Victoria is on the property that she donated to the Catholic Church. Now, as we can see from Patricia de la Garza, we can tell that she owned property, that she sued, and I don't think anybody tried to sue her, but they could have. She held mortgages. She handled business in her own name. So these were laws that came from the Hispanic world. These laws were part of the world that she had known, and they were laws that she used to defend herself.